Hello everyone, and welcome to another Arknights Endfield video. Today's video is going to be the free headhunting that the game gives you, or at least a 10 pull, because I'll probably just save. Because I'm not that interested in such a character. Okay, so, when this video recording right now, there is a lot that has happened, I guess, in terms of like off screen that is not on YouTube yet. So you have the survival training video for Enfield, and then you have at least up to a certain extent for normal Arknights when it comes to the new events and headhunting. But yes, there's a lot to mention aside from that when it comes to updates of everything else. So I'm probably gonna forget some things, but there's a lot that there is to mention. So first of all, Enfield, I got the trim medal at E2. That's gonna be the main focal point of the video. I will likely make another video that's specifically that alone. I'm going to be doing that more often with other videos, depending upon the scenario at hand. So for Arknights, I'm going to be splitting up videos of certain sections. So instead of doing all bulk video, releasing it, I'm going to do bulk sessions. I mean, it could be sections, but it'd be sessions because it'd be different recording sessions. And so, yap session, yada yada yada. In this case, this video is not going to be a long one, so it's going to be bulk one thing, then the bulk of, I say bulk, but small thing of the other, which would be the Headhunting session, because of the dossier. Anyway, so yes, survival training, E2, trim medal, that will be up in the near future. I kind of talked about it before. I'll be doing a lot more when it comes to E2 and actually getting around to do it. So I will very likely probably do that during the weekend at some point. But we'll see how things go, of course. No guarantees on anything, even for myself. So, anyway, aside from that, let's talk about other things Enfield related. So, of course, you have everything that's mentioned already before. I'll probably go over the patch notes to see if there's anything different or changed. The biggest news that was not on the live stream that I need to talk about is the length of this banner. My thoughts on the length, because I never really talked about it too much and actually getting time to think about it and digest it to give what I think about the scenario and the new banner type that they're doing. So let's start off with the new banner type. While we're at it here, I'll kind of do this here. So the new banner type is essentially these 4 characters only have 6 stars. You're guaranteed to get which one you want because you can choose at 120. That's the general gist of the banner session. It's back and forth. Like, to me, since I gotten really lucky in this game, it's not that great. But overall, for most people, I would say it's a really good thing. Especially if you're wanting specific operators, and again, it's another chance to get set operators. And it also confirms that they're going to be doing reruns, not specifically certain characters, but in groups of batches of characters. And because you can guarantee, there's a good chance you can get other characters as well. So it also adds in what like the normal charted headhunting does, where you can get other limiteds along the side. But it's chosen by the developers, which right now is not such a bad thing. But later on, some people say it'd be better. I would say it'd be worse, because there's gonna be not so great, and then there'll be great. That's just how it's gonna be, based on my experience with normal Arknights. On top of the fact that you have the character or not have the character. So if you're continuously playing the game, you're going to get to a point where you're going to be 50-50 on these big, multiple selected character banners. There's, of course, banners from OG Arknights. More unique than other gacha games, in my opinion, already. I feel like Hoyoverse and the way they do their V-Run banners is really fucking stupid, in my opinion. Doesn't really fix the issues at all. Long ass time ago, I did one of the surveys for Hoyoverse from Genshin Impact. Or was it Genshin Impact? I can't fucking remember now, it's been so fucking long. Where I said, you should allow 6-star select tickets. Allow you to select a limited character. Do you see me playing that game? No. Because there's a lot of issues with that game. But that's like my biggest issue with these limited banners, and that's the biggest issue with these types of gachas, is that trying to limit every single character, you're just going to create a stupid amount of FOMO. To the point where a lot of people are not going to play the game because of the gacha system alone. It's going to create so much FOMO. And to me, it's like, I don't like to think it that way. I just hate the system. But for a lot of people, it's the FOMO that stops people from playing the game. It's because there's so much that at this point, you've lost a lot of stuff you can do. Which creates even more of a... I want to disconnect. Pushback of you trying to play the game again. There's going to be something in your subconscious that will essentially influence you to not go back to the game because it will feel pointless because of the amount of FOMO there is. And this is why, to a huge extent, why I don't like the gacha system in this game. Even if I like the game and I still interact with the gacha system, I despise the gacha system still. Because it's not a good system. It's not going to keep players or try to have players come back. The only reason why people will come back is because of the quality, not because of the gacha. So, I don't know. To me, I feel like you shouldn't have as many limiteds. I understand the point of limiteds, and every so often limiteds is not necessarily a horrendous thing, especially if you do it correctly. I think Arknights does a really good job with limiteds. But if you consistently do limiteds, and there's a chance that they won't come back for years, it's pointless to even have them exist in the game to begin with. And of course, I already said everything else, but to me, it's like, it's the end-all be-all. Like, if you're not going to allow the players to interact with something specific again, then what's the purpose of adding it to begin with? That's just, at this point, a waste of resources for both you and the players. Anyway, so yeah, I already kind of talked about the whole gacha system many times before, even before the game came out, and even with the first few videos. Still not a big fan, but the general gist. The new banner system is not bad, but it's not going to be for everyone. It's kind of the main point. And to me, it's not... It's like, I would say it's better than the Charted. The biggest issue with the new banner type is going to create a scenario for some players where what was the point of summoning Levitain or worrying about trying to go for Levitain and your both. So let's say you try to go for both of them for whatever reason. Now with this banner coming out, it would have been way better to at least go for one of the two in this scenario, and then the Charted. Meaning, it's going to give some players some distrust. To me, I know some people disagree with this take, but for example, from the second Dying Light, which actually happened in the original, the first Dying Light game was the second one, I hated the fact that they made the DLC free. In theory, that sounds good, but you ruined the trust, especially my trust, in that I could have just raided and not buy the DLC. I feel like some people just don't understand that point. That's like, why bother now? Some people try to make the argument of, oh, you're supporting the company. I'm supporting the company by buying the game and playing it, not by getting its DLC. Especially with how they went about the advertisements and the higher versions, and the mess that came. And essentially, a lot, like, sure, you got a game for free, you got Dying Light the Beast for free, but that's like the only purpose of going for the higher value version. I can't remember, the Ultra Deluxe or whatever it was. The normal Deluxe version pretty much came pointless of getting. So you either upgrade to get a cheaper amount to eventually get Dying Light the Beast later on for free. After you learn the news, there's a time limit to do it, because they realized that people would use the loophole, so they closed that loophole. Not instantly, but they eventually did close the loophole. And yeah, it's like, to me, it comes back to this scenario too with the new banner site, is that it's going to create a scenario for some people where it feels like it was pointless trying to worry about going for whatever banner specifically, if there's going to be a better variation of it later on. Or you could possibly get save and not get every single character. For example, for me in this instance, it would be this 1.1 banner, but with Headhunting Rossi. If they put Rossi later on in the same scenario, and it's like maybe 2 months from now, it would have been better for me to go for Tong Tong, save, see how things go, and then go for Rossi then. Kind of makes the purpose because I want Rossi now, but in some scenarios, I feel like some people with Levitain and or Gilberta, if they wanted both of them, they kind of just got bitch slapped by the devs. Unironically, devs just moved, not trying to do anything or harm anyone, and they managed to bitch slap the customer. It's one of those things that I think a lot of people don't realize can be a tricky issue to come across, and I think for this scenario, it's not the best one-on-one comparison to Dying Light, but it gets the point across of creating distrust between certain consumers that you had. And to me, with the system, it's not a bad thing for it to rerun, but it's going to cause some distrust when they had a better opportunity of just saving some more and then worrying about getting the character, later on in this patch 35 days from now, than not getting said character back then. Let's say they're trying to go for both Levitain and Gilberta. They got Levitain, but they didn't get Gilberta. They missed out on Gilberta. They didn't get lucky enough to get Gilberta as they're trying to get it on the side. And now all of a sudden you guarantee Gilberta on this banner, like, only 2 months after her release, almost. Yeah, I would not be surprised if some people are mad about this scenario, because I've had prior experience of that before myself, the Dying Light 2 example. Even if they did it for the Dying Light 1, I think it's kind of stupid, because it's like, it kind of defeats the purpose of why you put money to get something essentially from it, and then later on be free. So it was like, what's the point of doing that? You just wait instead. Like, of course, you don't know how things would go on from then on, sure. But to me, I feel like it's a bad deal when you could just wait. Of course, not being interested in the series or doing anything with the series until later on has its benefits in that scenario, but yeah. It's not as similar, of course, but it's just, at the end of the day, regardless of what you think, it's at least food for thought. Take time to take that in of the possibilities of some people. I don't know how most people are. To me, I think with it being a gacha game, I don't think it's as bad as the Dying Light 2 example, that some people would actually be not so happy of what happened. Anyway, next thing, though, is that actually something that I don't like. That was just, of course, the whole banner example. was just more of I could see some people being angry. To me, this is not something I really like. So, take this as an example. A new character comes out. They try to experiment with some character. You don't interact with that, and you don't interact with that. Now you have to wait 2 months before you can actually do anything with a new character. I would say that's a bit overkill because it's not exactly 2 months, but hopefully you get the point of my next issue. I don't hate, per se, the idea of having a character per patch, or the idea, to an extent, of making it maybe a little bit longer if it's an important banner. But to me, it would make more sense going the Arknights approach of having 2 new 6 stars at once for that length of time, more than just one character, on top of not being interested in Zhuang. This patch, in terms of like playing with a new character, that approach, this is a very boring ass patch. Worse than what people have said for the first or the second patch, or the 1.0 or the 1.1 patch. To me, I value more of actually getting new characters than the content I get in the game, because I will eventually explore and play the content. Even at this point, I still haven't done everything in the base game anyway. Compared to other people who just bomb rush through it, to me, feel like they bomb rush through it. So it's like, some people, it's a good thing. To me, it's like, this is kind of boring, actually. The idea that of a character that I don't really care for, a month plus that they're going to be on the banner, is boring as hell. It just is. To me, it is. I mean, some people are going to say, you're a gacha addict, and I'm like, you know, I only really have been playing 2 gacha games, and it's both named Arknights. Except one has another thing that's after, which is Endfield. I do play some every so often when I feel like it. But the last time I played a different gacha game would probably have at this point over a month, maybe 2 months ago. No. I'm overestimating that. No. It would have been before Endfield came out. Because I'm trying to do other stuff on the side, and I'm just playing a gacha game on the side because I can. You know, multitasking, even though I'm not a great multitasker. Doing something on the side because I can, you get the general gist. And that was Fire Emblem Heroes. And even then, I just mindlessly level up characters, get orbs, and mindlessly summon who I like to get, quote unquote. I don't really even do much of the meta anyway, so why am I still playing the game? Just because I can. The point of that is, sure, I play other gacha games, I have other gacha games accessible to me, but the last time I've actually played another gacha game aside from that's called Arknights has been before Arknights Endfield came out. So when I say that I think Zhuang Fangyi, the way they went about it, is boring, yeah, I feel like it's boring. I feel like this patch could have been multiple characters, but everyone's going crazy because, hey, more time to summon. And that's not bad either. To me, I just find it boring. Even if it is good for everyone, realistically. To me, I mean, if they did someone different than Zhuang Fangyi, or that was actually fun or interesting, this would actually be a different scenario. Like, I've been talking about other gacha games, but this other side to take into consideration, well, what if it was an actually interesting character that I wanted to go for? That completely changes the ball game, of course. So I'd be going for the character, and then I could gladly wait. But on top of the fact that I don't really care about Zhuang Fangyi, and if you watch the live stream, I think you get some good points for why that is. yeah, I mean, at this point, hopefully you get the general gist of. I feel like a lot of people are probably just gonna be like, well, fuck. After some point, I'm gonna stop playing this game because there's nothing really much to do, and I don't care about the fucking 6-star. Now, in my scenario, it's not as simple as that because I would love to just say I don't have anything else to do. There's still crap ton of things to do, especially what I want to try to do for E2 teams. That, well, for some people, at this point, it is very select things that are keeping them to play the game or not. Literally everything is still making me play this game right now because I've been taking my time and enjoying it. So, what most people feel or think about this game and why they would still play it doesn't really apply to me. So even if Zhuang Fangyi is boring as fuck, I have still other things to do that I enjoy doing in this game. That I still have yet to do. Or to test. So, especially because of E2 shenanigans. And I'm trying to figure out certain things about the content creators and what they mean they've done everything with E2. I put cap because obviously they stopped doing E2 when they go for higher rarities, and we still get more content you could do with E2. So it's kind of like, well, can't really hold that as a thing to flag your move your flag around, but more of an achievement when you still have content coming out. So now, of course, I already mentioned when it comes to E2 that at some point I won't be doing E2 anymore. That depends upon a win than anything else. Like, the major win is CC. The minor win is when it feels like it's impossible to do E2. I have yet to get to that point because I really haven't gone try-hard mode with E2 yet. And I've already done so much with E2 already. Like, for example, survival training, trim metal, under 2 minutes with E2. And as a quick showcase, E2, 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 E2. And we talk to Clara here. I don't know if this will still be up. Can you? But yeah, I got the trim metal. Okay. Anyway, so I ended up getting under 120 seconds. It was like a minute and 29 or something like that. 1 minute and 46. I am better than a major gotcha rail, or say like I was major gotcha rail. I think it was changed now. No. I'm somehow like 6th place, and I'm doing better than E3 or E4 teams. Like, there's a way you can easily do this one. It's not that bad. Like, I'm looking at this, and it's like, I don't know if 2 minutes exactly can't give you it. But yeah, like, I'd say I did pretty damn good. For, you know, no more than E2. So again, I think there's a lot of things I could do or try to do. Level 90s all around. I don't know if that's the team they used, but wouldn't be surprised if they used Gibberta here, because Gibberta is kind of nice and can kind of work. It's a little tricky and there's so much going on. But anyway, so yeah. There's that. But the fact that it's going to be 45 days long anyway, without much going on, aside from me skipping one banner, and only being one major banner, I won't be going for the other side banner, because I don't think it's worth it, just for one character, that I could be saving for a new character that I would actually be interested in. Also, going back to Zhuang Fangyi, the reason why I don't give a fuck about Zhuang Fangyi is she's just another labor thing. She's literally just another labor team with a different element that doesn't really have a 6-star yet. So everyone's gonna go crazy for her alone because there's no 6-star for elemental teams yet for the electric team. And it's like, to me, it's like, oh, but I'm gonna skip just because you're just kind of another labor team. Yes, there are different mechanics between the two, but they essentially work the same. So to me, I just don't really care too much about either or. I feel like they're just kind of brain dead operators. And while that's not necessarily bad for a lot of people, to me, it's just boring. On top of another reason of being boring, is just that she's just another Leviathan, and I already skipped Leviathan because I didn't think she's that interesting to grab. But yes, gameplay is as important as the character. Uh, so, yeah. Take that as you will. Okay. There's a lot. Dossier activation. Is this only for 10 days? Or, no, I mean, 35 days? I don't know. We'll have to see. Okay, we have fixed the justice for expansions that occurred during the old deep division is compensation for fixes. Version of the. So we will be checking the notes to see what they have fixed. So we will claim both of these. That's like 3 pulls there. Again, I'm skipping. But we're gonna check out. We're gonna do a lot of other stuff in the game actually than just talking non-stop. Okay, known issues. Let's see if there's anything here. Issue after the update, an issue has been identified with a specific bonus effect to normal attack of 6-star pretty rare. Well, I've seen is abnormal. Locate the issue and fix it as soon as possible. Okay. It happens. I mean, look at base Arknights and CN. It happens. Where certain glitches happen with characters after a patch for whatever reason. Which is what it is. I won't go over. Is this the version update notes? Okay, maintenance, update and bug fix compensation, update notes. Okay, iOS. This is just updating new stories, main missions. Okay, side missions. Zhuang Fangyi, or weapon. New enemies. Thanks for kind of spoiling, but it's not really a spoil anyway. But interesting how it goes from Bone Crusher to a version of her being a conqueror. Interesting way to phrase it. Some new areas. Like, there's a lot of content in this update anyway, and I don't know how long it'll be for me to finish it. So, like, yes, I say Zhuang Fangyi is like boring, but like, I won't be bored playing the game. If that makes any sense. Okay, any bug fixes? They're just what we already know. Okay. Let me see if they remove any of the past. I'm gonna run a times one to just a new series. 6 stages. 6 stages. Oh. Are they talking about, like, 6 stages to face, or 6 missions? I don't think it's missions. I think it's actual stages. Compared to 3, it's now 6. Yeah. Interesting, because it's usually 3, but now it's 6. That's a lot. That's something I don't think people have considered. Okay. Also, take into consideration I won't be going to math class. Sorry, but, like, I just don't think I like how they went about the thing. I might change my mind on a lot of things, by the way. Like, something that I've always said in Arknights in general for certain things, that my opinion can change on things, depending upon what happens. So even if I say things are set in stone, in reality they are likely to be set in stone, but things can change. Some other things I don't like about this update, the fact that they keep adding new materials for armor is just stupid. I'm not a big fan of that. I think that's way, like, it's gonna get to the point where it's just way too much and just way too overbearing to have like 10, 20, 30, 40 different types of armor materials just for different armor sets. It's just gonna get to the point where it's just not gonna really be interesting. It's just gonna be really fucking stupid. So I hope that they stop doing that. And I think that's something I think I've heard some people mention before as well. The fact that they're, I hope they with each new patch when they add new armor sets, they don't keep adding fucking new materials for it. But they can just reuse the old ones for something else that is new. But who the fuck knows? Interesting. Animations for all operators to look at the controlled operator. Huh. So there's some things here that they did not say. Okay, okay. Okay, new teleports and ruling City. Interesting. The fact that they added new teleports. Okay. Of course, yes. Okay, they're making mobile better, which is nice to see. Okay, whatever. Okay. Okay, that's an interesting thing to know. To change the description for true metals. Okay. Okay. Okay, interesting. Okay. Bug fixes. Under certain conditions, finisher damage of 6 operators with an upper lash. An operator required cannot properly benefit from certain buffs. Its icon timing for 6 operators. Ultimate did not match its actual effect duration. Certain conditions, 6-star operator, last night, skill 1 incorrectly termed 6-star operators taintings ultimate? Okay, that's interesting. And checks an issue with certain conditions, screen will shake out normally. Okay, perform basic attacks to non-controlled operator? Yeah, okay. Incorrectly on a friend's profile screen? Okay, so anything interesting to know. Okay. Well, anyway, I don't think there's really much else to know when it comes to that. I was kind of hoping to see something with, the things I've mentioned before that I found, but nope. Okay, boring. Sure, because I can. And credit store. I won't worry. I won't worry about this stuff. I'll worry about it later. Even if I don't know if I'll play it again later, but okay. Operator, progression boosters, blitz avoidance. Okay. I don't like these types of events because they don't last long. Granted, this time it seems like it actually lasts. Still the same, actually. It should be the full patch, in my honest opinion. So we're gonna try out Zhuang Fangyi. We're gonna do a combat drill. See if I change my mind. Very likely, no. We'll try it out. Ugh. Okay, do multiple damage, can create cinder blades. You can see as a notification, it creates more. Alright, electrification, her combo skill consumes the enemy's electrification and forcibly plays it. The more electrification, the better it is. There's also our ultimates, which is just insane from the presentation they said. Electrification and battle skill to create cinder blades and do lots of damage to the enemy. Ultimate and user enhanced combo skill and battle skill to create cinder blades more effectively and deal massive damage.
Elite hostile unit detected.
First of all, Antil, right here, bro. Okay, so first of all, animation test. Okay, our fourth, or is it fifth, operator that has a double tap?
I sense danger. This one won't go down easily.
Wait. Okay. So it's still also okay. So it's just very delayed. That's what it's at. Okay. Well, to me, it's like she has her arts, but like the fact she uses her sword, quote unquote, but she's not a sword user. Okay, game. Okay. Okay, devices.
Yield now.
It's actually gonna be really hard to get electrification on. Just because it's so easy to do that, but then like it's easy to do final attack.
I responded like lightning. I see that. Futile struggle.
That's not necessarily what I want to use, but whatever. Yeah, the chat showcases like who I don't really use all that much anyway.
Incompetent.
These guys are kind of so weak that I don't feel like they're really doing showcase at all. So I'm trying to like get stats on to see how much how many stacks you can get and then see how much damage that is. To me, like, I think so far, just from seeing how I would say is I feel like there's not a lot of things to do in this scenario. It's just trying to stack infliction, which is similar to physical. But to me, I think with physical there's so many options that it's not like too much of a hassle or issue at the end of the day. Because you could do one character combos this way, or do a set of different characters a different way. So it's like, there's like a different, so much variation in physical teams, in a way you can handle it, and Rossi tenfolds that with casters now in the mix. Arts Infliction, I should say, not casters. Art Infliction on all of them. You can try to argue Flame, but you can also do that with other variations too, not just Fire. But to me, like, that makes physical still, like, very versatile on the way you can handle using your team with physical, especially with Rossi now. But with Fangyi, it's just electric, and that's it. That's like her main bread and butter, and that's it. Same thing with they retain the track. You could use these characters technically, or try to use these characters with Rossi, but that makes no fucking sense because you know Rossi also does do what these do DPS characters do. So to me, just that alone, like, I'm limited in wanting to use physical teams with these characters because physical teams won't work with these characters, obviously. But there's not a lot of versatility when it comes to different team comps with these guys because it's just going to mostly be their element. That's fine and dandy, but that's also really boring when physical is came out of the blue, out of fucking nowhere, but it's dick. I was supposed to say big dick, but yeah, you get the point. On the table and says, look what I could do with all these others, only mono teams. It's like, to me, I feel like physical is still the best element, not just because of power, but versatility and what you can do in that, compared to all these other elements, which are still very simple. And while that could change in the future, for me, Zhuang Fangyi and Headhunting are just not interested in all characters. Even if they work in a certain team, maybe you have certain characters that you like in certain elements, or you like these two characters. To me, I'm just gonna ignore them, and they don't exist. Now, I'm not gonna say I completely hate Trong, but I'm not really a big fan of her either. I wasn't really gripped or interested in her. They didn't do a really good enough job to make me interested in such the character. The only thing that I can really say that I'm like, okay, it's kind of cool about her is her finishing attack, is what it's called. Which is pretty much when you stagger the enemy. And that's kind of it. So there's not a lot to it aside from that. Anyway. A lot of people really try to overhype this. This doesn't really seem like there's a lot to it at all. Like, I've kind of did all of this with just one character. But even then, it's only up to level 60, so unless there's more to it that I don't know of, it's honestly not that crazy, really. That's the beginning of that. A lot of people are trying to, again, going back to the overhyping thing, that it's going to be a way to easily make characters for TC, and it's like, not really. I mean, sure, it's nice to get some rewards back, but at the same time, it's like, I don't think it's going to be enough to really build all characters up. But then again, you also don't need to have 4 characters up, you only need 4. And Arknights is a lot more different than Endfield, so it's like, in this scenario, I feel like this is actually overkill. just so far. I think this is kind of more of an overkill type of thing. Even then, it's not like it's only... I think it's... Let's go to skills. Yeah, it's only for tier 1 of the protopisms. So, that alone, you don't have the second tier. So, it's not really, like, that insane. It's only for beginners. That's kind of the main point. So, I feel like people were overhyping this. Cool. But nothing too crazy. Okay, I kind of already talked about the protocol pass. I am not going to be going for it at all. To me, I just kind of find the theme of it a little boring. And maybe I'll change my mind, but for the most part, it's kind of like, eh. If anything, at this point in time, I probably will just get the Ursium supply. But that's kind of it. And even then, there's no guarantee I'll get everything from it. But then again, it's like 45 days, so in theory, I should be good. So we'll see what they do for missions here. There's going to be a lot of points to get also, so like, it's going to be a lot easier to get over an excess amount of levels. I ended up getting less levels for the 1.1 patch than the launch update, by the way. So that's why it's like, to me, that's something I noticed when it came to Protocol Pass, was that it's like, it almost feels like it's a lot harder to max it out. And to an extent, I was kind of correct by a decent amount of levels. At least when it comes to 6,500 experience. So this patch, we'll have to see. To get a feel of it, but there's also like a lot of stuff that I introduced. And just for the most part, look at like these several 5,000s. Like, mostly story related, sure, but like, there's going to be like a lot of these possible levels from this. Just because there's a lot to this patch, even if it's like only one character and one story update, there's a decent amount of potential levels. But we'll see if it ends up being better than 1.1 or 1.0, but well, that remains to be seen. Okay, I have squandered enough time. How long is this gonna last? Unless it's gonna be next dossier. That might be lasting for a while, but I don't even have enough to do a normal summon. But I will obviously do a 10 pull, because it's free. And the remaining polls I will probably do off-screen and post on Discord. My guesstimate is I'm not going to get her. There's a really low, very, very, very low likelihood that I'll end up getting her. But again, as I already said many times before, I really don't care about this character in multiple different aspects. Even some that I've talked about during the stream. So to me, I'm not...
Did you just call me? Are you looking for my company?
I'm just not gonna go crazy about her and not getting her. And I'm gonna be skipping her. So, it is what it is. But, this also means more pity. So... makes sense getting a 5-star, but at this point doesn't really make any points. So I have all 5-star max spotted, so... The only point is Arsenal tickets, which then again is also not an issue anyway. So this is pretty much going to be a nothing burger Headhunting mission. Yeah. And that's the video. Okay. Well, I would like to joke around. There's not really much to joke around with. I will probably be doing some things on the side here, but my main focus is going back to Arknights and actually continuing on with the events in Arknights and Arknights related stuff, more so than Enfield. But I also have a lot of stuff to do in Enfield on the side. It's going to be up in the air of what next thing I'll do for Enfield and what will be the next actual thing. But overall, I really don't have much else to say. I'm just not super interested in this patch when it comes to character reasons and while things could change. I have yet to actually do anything in this patch to really say anything. So, yeah, we will see. I may change my mind or I may not change my mind, so who knows. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up now. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to subscribe / follow. Just below is Discord, please go check it out. Aside from that, continue summers, continue sharing, team, be safe and be healthy. And Todd, we'll see you all in the next video. And whenever this video will be up, I have no clue because there's so many other videos that I have to work on. So I actually have the time to do that. Anyway, until then,